Hello. Oh, it's always weakening me out, the extra sound. I'm not used to that extra sound.
Yeah, the reverb gets
welcome back to
hallway.
the welcome back to the Catalyst Game Labs and Gen Con live stream here at Gen Con 2025. It's actually glorious to I've never actually been at a Gen Con live stream, particularly out here on this stage, and we just have this stream of people go by, and some of them stop and wave and talk and see somebody's rolling by. I know them. So yeah, this is exciting. So we just wrapped up talking with Tommy Rice about Partha Wars. We're now here with Josh to talk about, and Chris, as I totally leave Chris out of this.
Someone just
and that other guy.
Pulled him on
he threw me on at the last minute, guys. Sorry.
So here with Josh and Chris to talk about BattleTech Aces.
You're going to get the outsider's perspective.
I am. Absolutely. So just real quick, I do this every time. The quick schedule for the day for those that are trying to figure that out. Yep. Right now we're doing Aces discussion for about an hour. I'm then going to step away because I'm sprinting from live stream to booth to meetings, you name it. And so then Josh is going to continue on, I believe, with Chris and some others playing Aces with BattleTech Gothic, which is releasing here at the show. That's going to be really cool.
So, we're going to put the new minis into the existing Aces decks. Just mix and match.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to watch it after the fact.
Of course.
I wish I could have been here, but too many things going on.
Yeah.
Then after that, Mike and Quincy from Quincy's Tavern is going to be here. Incredibly nice gentleman. If you haven't seen his TikTok videos, you should totally check them out. They're fantastic. Just playing some different board games. Then from 3 to 4, Lauren, Mike Webb, John Rod, Paul Butler, and Meredith will be just talking about the industry. These are some of the biggest names in our industry and talk about what's going on and how the show's going. Then we have our good friends at Modifius and Restoration Games that will just be talking about what's latest and greatest for them from 4 to 5. 5 to 6 then is Fiction with Michael Ciravella, Brian Young, Michael Stackpole, and John Helfers. And then the evening will be B-Dave and Thor and Tommy Rice with Rem and some others back to do Shadowrun Anarchy. Black Book, who is our French partnering arm, is about to launch an Anarchy 2.0 Kickstarter, which is a fast-playing Shadowrun game, and you can see it live here this evening. But we are here to talk about BattleTech Aces. This has been a really simple, easy path.
Those are all of the adjectives I would use to describe
just a couple of months from start to finish, and now we're here, and no worries. Many of you watching this that have any interest know this has been coming for a good long time now. But why don't you give us like a quick thumbnail of, as a designer of the engine?
Okay.
Like, how did that get started? And then I can kind of plug in how we then came in and co-opted you and dragged you along kicking and screaming.
Well, we said it would be great to do this thing, and you said, but what if it was this big? that's the really
No one who knows me is surprised when Randall said, but what if we go bigger?
Yeah.
Have you seen the sign back behind me?
It's not on screen, actually.
I know. So for those that can't see it, there's this giant sign. So
20 feet long and 10 feet tall.
Yeah, it's actually 30 feet long and 10 feet tall. But here's the thing. I was told that was the exact space I had to work with. And when I got here and I put it up, I was immediately upset because I could have had a 40-foot sign and 30 feet tall. So anyways, take it away.
The BattleTech banner.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, this is, let's see. We knew that we wanted to start with Alpha Strike, just on rules complexity alone. And as a more accessible...
No, we're going to, sorry, not to interrupt you. Go back further.
Go back further.
Yeah, to like how did because this is the engine. Like how did it come about? And
so
just to give the pedigree, I think that's actually one of the fascinating parts.
Okay, so the very beginning of this journey, we have to go back to 2014 when I was regularly playing Star Wars X-Wing with some friends of mine, local club, Toronto game store. We had a fairly small little fan group that was our local Toronto group. And one of the organizers was like, man, it'd be great if we had a little campaign engine where we could actually do like a GM, we have a GM and we'd play like a little scenario-based version of X-Wing and someone would run the op for. And I was like, but who wants to run the op for? Like,
I want to play.
I've played D&D. Like, that's one of my problems with D&D as an experience, is that someone is the GM and isn't playing the game.
Yeah.
And so I was like, how hard could it be? It can't be. Like, we should be able to make some kind of automated something or other. Like, so there have been inklings of it. A few people had done different takes on it for X-Wing. I went insane, I think, basically. I had suffered a bit of a personal injury at the time and was like not able to go out places for a bit. I had injured my knee, and I just remember being like, well, no, like, you just got to take, like, this person who did that, like, okay, they had a cool idea. This person had a cool idea. No one had really looked at it holistically and went, well, what if you put them all together and made, like, X-Wing into a GM-less RPG with a 15-scenario campaign and, progressive pilot growth like you're playing an RPG or something. Yep. And I put together what became known as Heroes of the Aturi Cluster, which was a nearly, I think it's like an 80-page PDF with a 17-mission campaign and full automation for all of the Imperial forces and full pilot growth and everything for the Rebels.
Which ones?
And that was really the project that, like, I just did it for me because I loved X-Wing, but it got me into the board game industry.
Put on top some cards.
It got us a meeting with WizKids to make Star Trek Alliance, which was a box set version of basically that experience. We Star Trekified it and made it a 3-box set trilogy, and was really able to fine-tune what I learned about that system. We're working on X-Wing, making Heroes, and also working on Star Trek, and I was at Lynnvander by that time. Got us the attention of Snapships, so we made Snapships Tactics, which also has an automated opponent. I think you kind of came into the picture.
Yeah, I was in about halfway through that. It really was Star Trek Alliance. So
yeah, you played it, right?
Yeah. So at the start of COVID, my oldest son, who works for Catalyst, he's an all-around guy that just does everything for Catalyst, but he's also the Leviathans line developer and one of my go-to soundboards for our game design. And we're like, well, what are we going to do now? Like, things are going to slow down. We're going to be stuck in the house. You can't go anywhere. And so we had played a fair number of miniature games, but we just love miniatures games.
I mean, I've seen your game room.
I know, right? But at that time, we're like, you know what? Let's actually become masters at this. Like, let's become actual experts.
You've got some time. You can hone the craft a bit.
We got some time. And so we just started. And actually, it was kind of crazy because, like, I swear I know more people now in the industry than I did before, because it kind of, we love trading with each other. We'll go up to each other's booths and we'll be like, I love your game. Can I give you my game for your game, right?
Yep.
And I remember I'm heading into the summer and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do any trading. How sad is that?
We're not at the show, yeah.
We're not at the show. And then I'm like, I'm just going to randomly start emailing people. I'm a big believer in doing something until they say no. And I met.
This is why we're good friends.
That's right. And I know so many great people now. Like, I just, I randomly emailed Modifius, and suddenly a month later, Chris Birch, the president, is emailing me back. I love BattleTech. Let's do something, right?
Yeah.
And now we like see each other and hugs and talk about our kids, and but we then were getting all these games. So my son and I now have played well over 100 games.
Miniatures games.
Miniature games specifically, 100 unique miniature games, trying to get all that. And one of them was Star Trek Alliance. Now, I've played many games that have a type of AI interface, and most of them are meh to not good at all, because it's really hard to do.
The absolute minimum viable.
Exactly.
Sort of
like you can say it on the box.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you get the board game and it has 2 to 4 players. And then it says, and it can go to 5, and you're like, you had the little and there, so I don't believe you, right?
We thought of this after.
We thought of that,
made us.
exactly. And so we played Star Trek Alliance, and I was kind of blown away. I'm like, wow, this works really well. And then
I think I knew that, but I'm not sure I've actually ever heard you say that.
Yeah, no, I was absolutely, it was fantastic. And then we were, I had known Tommy Gofton for a while. You just run into people at conventions, and pretty soon you're friends and figuring stuff out together. And so then at that point, you guys were already starting down the Snapships route. Okay?
I think we were mid-development.
Yeah, you were mid-development on that. And I was talking to you when you were showing that part of it off, and I'm like, this, I see how you're doing it even better.
Yeah. And
it's somewhere along the lines, I'm like, this can be done for BattleTech. And part of that is because Alpha Strike was just coming out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this could be done, and it could be done with Alpha Strike, which is our big new game. And then that's when the conversation, we started talking about it, and they're like, yeah, we can do it a little packs and a little box. We do it together. And I'm like, no, that's not what I want.
My favorite part about this is actually that Tommy, I think, was the real spark for this vision of just like, Catalyst needs to know that they should do this.
Yes.
And
absolutely. He was relentless.
He did a lot of discussions about it with you before I think he even told me he was doing it.
I'm not surprised.
He just straight up sold my services.
I am not surprised at all. He did sell you off. It was kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But I fought for it well, so it was really kind of Tommy Gofton and I with that vision.
Yeah, you were really pushing it from the Catalyst side.
working with Lauren, who was eventually able to catch the vision as well. Just like, for example, Lauren was the one that had the BattleTech Gothic vision of a new alternate setting. It actually took me a while to get on board. And then I fell in love with it, and I ran, and once again, see the heft and thick of that box. It's ridiculous because I never do anything on the low end. And so the same thing with this. I'm like, no. We got to have minis. We got to have a huge campaign. It's got to tie into one of our favorite new settings. I want multiple boxes. And Lauren's like, stop asking for ponies, man. I'm like, no, not when it's going to be this good.
I want a whole corral.
I want a whole corral of them.
Yeah.
So then you kind of went even crazier as you were developing it.
Yeah. This sort of began, I remember the main question, you were on board for the vision, but then there was the question of like, well, what the heck are we actually going to make? How does that even?
Yep.
Because the question you specifically posed to me, and I think it's an interesting one, is Star Wars X-Wing, Star Trek Attack Wing, and Snapships are all games with a bespoke measuring movement tool. It's regimented movement that you can sort of, part of why that AI works is it understands the geometry of the game better than players do, and just sort of, it's all baked in by which movements it does and which rulers it follows and where.
Yep.
It just knows the geometry, and then it catches you out because it's gambling on where it thinks you'll be versus where you are, and it
correct.
Half the time it'll guess the right way and it'll outfly you. And so taking what I learned from doing those different engines and adapting it into a miniatures game where you can just take a tape measure and
go wherever you want. And people will, and a lot of players will consistently not optimize.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
They'll do what might be wrong that the forced movement of all those other games minimize.
Yeah. So target selection in those games was like, if you pick a target, the rest of it is just sort of computational.
Yeah.
The little card that I made for that system just kind of can figure it out for you, and it'll get a good result. Aces is a little bit of a different paradigm insofar as the card is really a ranked priority list. And actually, I'll grab a couple of them and put them here.
There,
out in front.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do the
overhead just leave it up right there.
Yep.
If we can see that guy with, I don't know if we've got too much glare on them or not. They are sleeved because we've been using these ones in the hall actually to run demos. Let's get a couple of different ones. But basically,
if you want to do the top-down camera.
Yeah, there we go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Those are pretty good. Okay, so these cards have sort of broader priorities. There is a target selection phase. There is a how I'm going to move phase, and then there's if I'm going to do this behavior at all. So you qualify a column first, and then you're going to follow down that column with how do I choose a target, and then once I've got a target, how am I going to move and what sort of terrain do I care about on the table before I can realize that target. So there were so many more layers to this, and we went through a lot of iterations on those layers. Even, I think the version that the very bare bones alpha that was available as a download during the Mercenaries Kickstarter campaign, that was even like my version 3 or 4 at this.
Yeah.
And then we almost completely scrapped and overhauled it since then.
Oh, yeah.
Twice.
If you look at that and look at where we are, it's kind of amazing.
I somewhere I have like an example of like, here's how this one card has evolved through all the eras.
Oh, I love doing that.
I've got to find that and send that to you.
I'm such a pack rat that I keep all the old files, and so I have the same thing for various
you never know when you'll need something.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you've got to go back and be like, actually, something is lost in this last iteration, and we better pull it back.
Yep, absolutely.
And so that whole system started to really gel, and we did a lot of testing and realized that, like, actually, no, it's still too easy to bait the light mechs. Okay, well, and it's sometimes they're fighting enemies that are too far away, which is not really a good strategy in BattleTech unless you have a really good reason to make that long-range shot when there's guys pressing you at short range.
Yep.
And so we realized one of my ex-military friends said, like, no, it's got to be about contact priority. Like that's a straight up like modern military doctrine. You fight the things that are fighting you.
Yeah.
Never mind that thing over there you'd like to get rid of.
Yeah.
And so adapting that in a way that wasn't 100% predictable solved almost all of our problems. And that really informed the whole system of like, okay, well, pick a target, but we're going to go by zones in distances out from the model and see who I'm actually going to fight. And different roles have different zones. If they're really fast moving, their zones are longer because they can get to that target. If they're slow moving and have short range weapons, they're really small zones and they kind of look slowly out at different ranges. But that got us basically to the point of like, okay, I can make a deck that can run a battle mech. It's working.
Yeah.
There are some things we can exploit still. And then what really kicked it up a notch was we realized, well, like, this whole thing, we wanted to do a narrative box set. It was going to be narrative from the beginning because BattleTech is so narrative as a property.
Yeah, that was a mandate
that
from
was
the
something
get-go.
I did not appreciate about the IP when I started, and I'm, like, fully converted.
Oh, yeah, no, the amount of novels that he has read, source books, it is epic how much he has done in the last
It's
well,
a very
year to
deep.
two.
So
yeah.
Here's a context thing for you. Like I have now played Classic with people who've played Classic for 30 or 40 years, and I know more lore stuff about some of them.
Yeah.
Like mech details, settings, factions, whatever. I make the joke that I'm Neo from the Matrix. They plug the cable in, and I went, I know BattleTech.
I know that role all too well.
But yeah, it was wild, like getting to learn all of the setting stuff. I started backwards. I went Ilclan first. Actually, no, that's not quite true. I did Warrior Trilogy and Great Death Legion Trilogy first.
Yeah.
So like, what was their original vision for the property? And then kind of did some Cole's Notes backfilling because Universe wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
And just sort of did my own Universe like tour, basically.
Yep.
Arrived at Ilclan, read like Bonfire of Worlds, Children of Kerensky, Hour of the Wolf, and then backfilled from there to get all the rest
into
of
the
Ilclan
Dark Age,
setting.
and yep.
Because you need a little bit of Dark Age context to appreciate Ilclan, I think.
Yeah.
I absolutely.
We're not far enough into Ilclan yet that it really stands on its own. I
Agreed. Particularly not without the Universe book out yet.
And not without like Trial of Birthright.
Yeah.
But basically, like, I got to that point and was like, okay, well, these factions are really flavorful, and there's so many really cool characters. It's weird that you would make an automated opponent where you weren't fighting against those people, or at least like they've got very different ideas about how they should conduct combat, and large portions of some of these books are about the conflict between those ideals.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, well, you really need these commanders, so that how do we make a meta layer of there's a commander directing the force, and then he's got all of his individual battle mech cards that are running the units individually, because the mech warrior in the seat's got his job to do.
Yep.
But he needs orders. So who's giving him orders as an automated opponent? And I realized that if you sort of pull some of the bits out of the Aces cards themselves and make them variables, we use little color tags, blue, red, yellow.
Yeah.
And then they actually literally just look up to a commander card that now has its own little priority list. We can go back to the overhead and show off the little commander card. But he's got red, yellow, and blue priorities broadly for his stuff. And he has a set of special orders, which will override some of the instructions on the standard Aces cards. So now he's going to be sort of directing the battle. And if you start to learn how he likes to fight, and you've got all your Aces decks, you can just plug in a different commander, and it's like sitting down at the table from somebody else.
Yep.
They're going to use those mechs totally different way.
And the thing that I love most about that, I mean, obviously the thing I love most is that you're bringing the flavor in, right? That is so crucial, both for those who have played BattleTech forever and love the lore, but also for those coming in just new.
Yeah.
Okay, it brings that flavor out. But more importantly, or at least more importantly from a game design, it also makes the replayability fantastic.
Yeah.
Because you can replay the exact same scenario with a different commander, and it's going to feel different.
We were concerned about how many different Aces decks we were going to have to make.
Yes.
Because we started off saying, okay, we'll make like all the individual roles. We'll do Brawler and Missile Boat and Sniper and Striker and all those. There's like 8 of them.
Yep.
And it was like, oh, but actually, if you've got an assault mech that's TMM 0 because it's so slow, it's got a 2-4 movement profile.
Annihilator, I'm looking at you.
Yeah. Annihilator is a good example. If you've got a mech like that, it's like, actually, the strategy for playing that assault mech is a little different than you would typically say of like a Juggernaut.
Yep.
And so when we got to the point of like really looking at, I think I got the entire spreadsheet of the MUL from Joshua Franklin, who is the Alpha Strike developer.
Yep.
And I sorted it to find the minimum and maximum values for every stat in the game, and started looking at.
See, that's why we get along well, because I love spreadsheets and doing that same thing.
Aces is a 50-column wide, 500-line spreadsheet for the card decks. Anyway,
love it.
Anyway, I sorted it to find all these really weird outlier units, and I was like, well, you haven't done that one in plastic yet. We got to do that one.
Yeah.
You haven't done that one. You haven't done that one.
Yep.
And then also like, oh, this is a great excuse to like really, what are the absolute breaking point design cases for like, how do you make an Aces deck that plays a unit that never wants to move?
Yeah.
Oh, do you still even need the movement instructions? Well, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
The pregame phase of that is like, I got to sprint him somewhere and get him set up so he can rain death, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different weird units like that where then as we were doing the multiple box sets, I kind of was able to sketch out the whole system of like, no, you want Juggernaut biased for like slow-moving unit.
Yeah.
You want Striker but biased for hover vehicle, like that sort of stuff. And that really got us to the whole set of decks. And then we were able to go, okay, well, where are we going to set the stories and what models are we going to put in that use those decks?
Yeah.
And also, which mechs are we going to do new plastic for, and which units are we going to... So that I've got all of the Aces decks covered. We've got all this plastic sort of requirement covered.
Yeah.
They all fit into the lore, and we've got that covered. Like it's like doing a like a six-dimensional Sudoku.
Yeah.
Is actually what it turned out to be. Like it was just very... In some cases, you'd fill out all the rows and go, well, it actually just has to be a Howler.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just that box set just has to have a Howler for that slot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Appalachia is rife with them.
Yeah, and luckily, you know, that was a great description over the last 10 minutes or so. But it also doesn't really scratch the surface of how complex and long
only the automated opponent.
Yeah. But one of the glory, you know, because ultimately, you know, I was expecting when we first started this path that, you know, it would have already published maybe a year ago. But there was a lot of things, you know, life and shipping and production and everything that got in the way.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
fiction. There's 100,000 words in the Scouring Sands campaign book.
Yeah. So literally 100,000 words of fiction are in this thing. Yeah. So we both went crazy from both sides. It took us longer to get here, but I think what we have done is something really special. I have been saying forever, and it's part of when I was able to make the case to Lauren, and he really came on and has been supporting the vision ever since, is, you know, we're all filled with hyperbole. We love to go, oh, this is the next greatest thing ever. But I really think that this is a game that for the first time, you as a player of BattleTech or any tabletop miniature game, it's got a fantastic solo mode. But I think the game changer is the co-op play.
I agree.
And how engaging it is, and how there are so many gamers out there that loves games that versus is just very off-putting to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
and to be able to sit at a table and play together against something, I think that's going to change everything.
Yeah, like personally, whenever I try to introduce new players just to even, you know, the BattleTech setting and everything like that, sometimes it's hard. You know, you have someone who's a vet of you know, classic BattleTech or even Alpha Strike for decades, and you're sitting down with someone who's like brand new, and you don't even realize how like overwhelming it can be. And when you're put into a situation where you're asking them, you know, hey, you as the new player face off against someone who's played this for 30, 40 years. It's always a daunting thing, but you know, a co-op experience, I see that as like a very big boon, because then you as a vet are kind of, you know, jumping into the action with those newer players and taking them through the ropes in a way where you're both trying to succeed instead of like be confrontationally against one another.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw this with Star Trek Alliance, and we saw this. We really saw this with Snapships, because that's a game that has like literally a spaceship Lego building toy. It began as a building toy, and so it was very much the like parents and kids became like something we heard all the time from lots of folks, like, oh, I want to start playing, introducing my kid to this hobby that I've been really into for, you know, most of my life. How do I do that? And I think that's kind of the most amazing part. Or like, oh, I've been playing BattleTech forever, and my partner's never really cared about it. Now they'll actually, now we have a way to play my hobby together in a way that's not confrontational.
Yeah, you can just do it together.
You can just do it together. It's almost like playing a couch co-op on a video game.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
especially with the way this is written and structured, because of the way you have characters that are, you create a little stable of mech warriors. They're gonna, you put them in different mechs in different scenarios. You level them up. Like if you've played the Harebrained Schemes BattleTech game, a lot of this will be familiar to you. It's just all been done in a very streamlined tabletop way.
Yeah. So every one of these spreads is the next adventure, and it's twined, as you guys like to describe it, as you kind of have these little branching paths you can go on through different parts of the adventure.
The scenarios are numbered, so you can find which one is which, but the actual structure is your campaign will be 7 scenarios long in Scouring Sands, but there are 22 total scenarios.
Yeah.
Including, there's a full guided tutorial at the beginning that has if you've never played Aces before, set up the table like this, seed these decks like this, and literally step through turn by turn by turn. It is actually
this is here, the total.
Here's the card that gets drawn. Here's how you should interpret it. Here's what all these icons mean. By the way, you've also got the separate rule books. You've got the little reference card on the back and all of that.
Yeah, there's, as always, I try and cram so much and all of this fantastic terrain that assembles and is all bits of pieces.
We said pretty early on that we were like, if this is going to be a box set, it should be an Alpha Strike box set expansion.
Yes. So you're just grabbing your Alpha Strike box and plug it into it.
Enough new plastic in the box that are all thematically related, like a big fat force pack. They are the enemy force for the game.
Yep.
But if you have the Alpha Strike box set, we need you to have the Alpha Strike rulebook anyway.
Yep.
We need you to have some templates in there, and we use the buildings for all of our setup because it already has amazing cardboard buildings. And we said, well, how would you expand that? If you were just going to make another expansion to the Alpha Strike box set on the lane of the terrain, okay, well, we'll add hills and we'll add rivers.
That just makes me giggle every time.
Yeah, a little 2-step hill.
The 2-step hill, and it's all modular, right?
Yep. They have common edges as well, so there's a lot of scenarios where you'll get kind of this more natural-looking rock face just by the fact that they line up nicely.
Yeah. Again, Josh, fantastic job in the modularity. That's the word I was looking for.
This is the thing no one asked for that I just said this is happening.
I know. And I just wanted the thing, and the moment he saw it, I'm like, oh, once again, you just took it to a whole other level.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And the other cool thing is that each of these 4 boxes will have a different biome in effect. So obviously Scouring Sands, this is desert. And then as we go into the other ones, there's a snow one, there's a...
Yeah, well, we teased the names, I think, in the broad strokes already. So, yes, I don't know about the release order necessarily, but the other 3 are Snowblind.
We don't even know that yet.
Which is Ghost Bear Civil War era.
Well, Dominion's divided action.
That's true, yes, based on the events
that
are
also, just stepping back a little bit, once again, we have the Ilklin era rolling out. We have the 4 primary kind of plot books that cover the entire Inner Sphere. So it was really important to me that as we're doing these boxes, they're plugging into the stories, the source books, the novels that are already happening. And pretty much almost universally, everyone who has embraced the Ilklin era has found that the hinterlands are the best place to play.
That is the portion of the former Jade Falcon occupation zone that got abandoned in the drive to Terra.
Yeah, in the drive to Terra, nearly all of the Jade Falcons got stripped out of that zone.
I think somebody said everything, and then it's been no shortage of problems for fiction.
Weird that's the way it works sometimes.
Never say all.
Well, particularly
never say never.
Particularly something in BattleTech. So this particular Scouring Sands is, what happens when there are still some Jade Falcons in the forces, but then it's just a collapsed vacuum of power structures across dozens of planets and how everyone's come in, and it makes it incredibly easy to run any type of force, mercenary, other factions. So this, of course, was a perfect way to have these as the Jade Falcons as your Op 4 that you're going to be facing off against. So it's a campaign against the Jade Falcons through the hinterlands.
I think they're probably the oldest, most iconic BattleTech villain.
Pretty much,
unless you count the Draconis Combine, but I think
but once you get to the clans,
for the video games, it was absolutely
Jade Falcon's right out of the gate, right? That MechWarrior 2 cover
Yep.
with the Jade Falcon and the wolf on it, like
Yep.
just fantastic.
So that was definitely the best place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this one was always going to be the first one. And then, basically it's like, well, we've got 3 other books.
In the same
Those
era.
3 boxes should be the same thing. And so, the Dominion's divided with the
So
snow.
that is a mercenary contract where you get dropped into the middle of a backwater planet in the Rasselhog Dominion that is experiencing the Civil War moment of, well, should the Rasselhog Dominion join Alaric Ward's new Star League, or should they remain this new half-clan, half-inner-sphere hybrid state that's been doing so well for them? Civil War erupts, you get dumped in the middle of it. It's a snowy planet with a factory. It's a fairly important location in world.
Yep.
Things very quickly. I will just say, I think the tagline for that box. This is not, of course, the official tagline, but in my developer mind, it really is: the path to hell is paved with good intentions.
Nice.
I don't know if you can win that contract so much as you can not lose that
You
contract.
cannot lose that contract. Nice.
Rasselhag in particular is always fun because, for our own products on the video game side,
You've just touched that a little bit, haven't you?
Quite a bit. In fact, Rise of Rasselhag was one of our bigger expansions when they came out.
MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. Yeah.
Yep. And we'll be returning to Rasselhag again. This fall with Shadow of Kerensky as well.
Nice.
It's a very interesting area of space, even historically, like going all the way back to the Succession Wars with like the tier movements and all the
absolutely the tier regiment and all that coming into the Fourth Succession War and not to mention the actually one of my favorite cutscenes in MechWarrior 5: The Clans. If you like BattleTech and you have not played MechWarrior 5 Clans yet, go do it right now. It is fantastic. Because I remember being like 17 reading Stackpole's Blood of Kerensky trilogy, and when Tyr rams her Shylone into the Direwolf Bridge, kills the ilk, like that was so cool. And in the video game, like I'm getting chills. I'm like,
seeing it happening.
I was just totally geeking out. And the other fun thing is we're also about ready to get to Wolcott, and 5 of us are playing, and all of us know BattleTech, or most of us know BattleTech.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, 3 of us had kind of forgotten that bit. And so Bryn and I, when you jump into Wolcott as that cutscene, and we had to end because we'd already been playing for hours that night. And Bryn and I are like, oh, it's coming. And they're like, what's coming? I'm not going to tell you.
I think you mean Turtle Bay. Because
that's right. Sorry, Turtle Bay, not Wolcott.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's coming.
And oddly enough, that part that you're talking about has always been something that was never actually described in the fiction ever, which we were actually shocked with on the video game side because it was always referenced in third party.
But never directly done. I know.
So
it just shows how massive this universe is.
It is.
That you can still have stories to tell.
Still go back and find little spots,
Yep.
Well, this was also like finding an open thread that no one else was really working on that wasn't going to impact any of your core story stuff through each of these source books. Like, what planet can we even pick that no one's like already working on?
Yep, and that's part of almost why it was required. Luckily, you fell in love with it. You had a good time, but it's almost why it was required. You get that conversant with the lore because it is a fine needle to thread.
So, I mean, Ray jokes that no one else can make BattleTech. like,
so yeah.
There's a lot of tribal knowledge there.
It is a beast.
Yeah.
Sorry. On the world front, I wanted to say, where do you set stories and stuff like that? An interesting little tidbit because on the video game side, we actually had to build out, the entire inner sphere for MechWarrior 5 Mercs.
Yep.
Like, we've looked at the data tables for just how many official worlds there are to travel to and everything like that. It's somewhere in the realm of 2,350 range, like somewhere in that band.
And they've all got a table with their socioeconomic data and their industrial centers and all of that.
Yeah, it's actually kind of glorious sometimes when you're looking for a planet and you find the planet and there's like nothing.
Yeah,
it's a blank slate, and it's right where you need it to
found
be.
One.
I know. That's why you're like,
box 4.
Yes, this is what we need. Because it's pretty rare to find that.
Yeah.
So and
Dominion's
then
divided.
Oh yeah, that's right. So you're still going the other 2 box sets.
Yeah. Next one is based on Empire Alone. It is set in the border between the Duchy of Andurian and the Capellan Confederation.
Yep.
It's called Wrath and Reprisal. It is a mercenary contract about I would describe it as the Grey Death Legion novel Mercenary Star, but in reverse.
Ooh,
You're not the
nice.
Grey Death
Yeah,
Legion.
yeah.
You're the Kurita
Nice.
garrison force.
Yeah.
So there are guerrillas running rampant on the planet that you're tasked with a garrison contract, but like it quickly goes to
Sideways.
tatters.
So what
Weird
what
that it
region,
goes sideways.
Oh, garrison contract.
I know,
every
they
time.
go sideways.
So what region was this again?
This is the border between the Duchy of Andurian and the Capella Confederation.
Capella
okay,
Confederation.
yeah,
so
that's
you're the
yeah,
mercenary
no.
contract, and the Op 4 will be House Lao forces.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's actually a really interesting area of space. That on the video game side, we're also always looking for things that you guys on the board game side haven't been covered in order for us to kind of carve our own niche.
Yep.
And we were so close to doing an Endurian versus kind of Endurian crisis conflict.
I love
Because like
that.
the Endurian, because like the Succession Wars era, like.
Yeah.
After Fourth Succession Wars, Anduria invades Liao
Yep.
with the help of the Canopans.
Yep.
So it was
a lot
like a
of
really
fun stuff there.
Yeah, it was a really interesting three-way battle. So it's really good
So
to see that space.
Part of what makes that contract challenging is, in fact, the world you are fighting over is a border world that has changed sides a few times.
Yep.
So the local populace, some of them can't be bothered, but some of them are also like, man, this is just the latest turn of the wheel, and I'm not super happy about
Yeah.
this.
Yep.
I'm going to make your life difficult.
Yep.
And so that quickly gets also off the rails, and there are some very interesting, ethically gray choices to make on that contract. So
Weird.
really happy with how that turned out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also
And,
seeing a recurring theme through BattleTech.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
And I'm just happy to see some Merrick love after all
Yep.
these years.
And the
Fourth box.
The fourth one, I think, was the one that I think we had the least clear idea, because this is the Ilkhan's Eyes only source book tie-in.
And so you had already started working on it while we were still developing it. So,
Yeah.
like, how do I thread a needle
Well-
when there's no thread?
Yeah, I was kind of like, well, we're sort of got this theme going, and this is going to happen, broad
Yep.
strokes. Like, I was given, like, 5-paragraph summary of the source book.
Yep.
And I was like, but the Snow Ravens are in it, right?
Yep.
And you guys were like, well, yeah, we're doing more with the Snow Ravens, because they're a big part of the Third Star League. And I was like, okay,
'Cause
well,
Snow Ravens.
the very first, the Alpha Strike box set that I started with when we began this journey, I painted the spheroid mechs as
I remember
Davians,
as
and I painted all of 5 clan mechs as Clan Snow Raven Beta Galaxy.
So nice serendipity there for you to be
Well,
able
I
to.
put my thumb on the scale a little bit.
Just a little. That's okay.
I thought
we
I
do
think
that.
good BattleTech developers should do.
Yeah.
But no,
there's
I
a
said,
reason that the House Kurita is, or the Blood Dragon is the
Oh, I
mech
know.
on the Gothic box. 'cause
Oh, I know.
Randall put his thumb a little.
especially with the Demon Horn helmet.
Yeah.
That's the head I picked, by the way.
Oh,
I
was it?
painted
Oh,
mine.
that's fit because that Oni look is so great.
Anyway, that last box set is called Controlled Burn. It takes place basically right after the Davians have kicked the Draconis Combine out of what was formerly Davian space. They've kind of cut through the Dragon's Tongue and shoved them back into what was formerly Kurita space. Except that there's this whole problem with the Third Star League, and everyone in the clans are a little bit zealous about, okay, well, now we're just going to steamroll the rest of the Inner Sphere, right?
Yep.
And so some enterprising Snow Ravens have taken it upon themselves to kind of start pushing out of the Outworlds Alliance portion on the far side of the sphere into Davian territory. So you're basically like, hey, you got to fight this delaying action.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yep.
That's,
Maybe you're a fool to take this contract,
yeah.
but also it's a very interesting planet because the setting for it, you mentioned like finding a hole where there's a planet where you need it to be. You and I had a discussion back at Origins about Origins 20.
Yeah, like 2
20,
years
23,
ago, right? Or
22?
something like that. Something like
23,
that.
I think. About, well, you got the desert and you got the snow. Like, what else can we do for biomes? And I said, well, what about all the cool Alien Worlds map pack neoprenes that you guys made?
The fungal crevasse,
The
one of my
fungal
favorites.
crevasse map, the one that's purple.
Yes, I love that map.
box set, we said, well, that's such a cool map for Classic, and it's got some cool environment rules.
Yeah.
I'd love that for Alpha Strike. And you were just like, yeah, right away.
Yeah, I've seen the build on some of the
Yeah,
pieces,
they're all
like
done.
the giant fungal things that he has done with it. It's so
We made
cool.
a new set of cardboard trees
Yeah.
that are mushrooms.
They're all giant
and
mushrooms.
a bunch of larger mushrooms that are like buildings,
It's
sort of.
fantastic. I love it.
And there's some big pit chasms as well in that
Yeah.
box. You
Yeah.
actually have like a bottomless pit tile that
'Cause you have to.
occupies some of the board.
Because you have to.
So one thing I actually want to circle back around on
Yeah.
the material and on these. I really like the fact that these are like much thicker cardstock cardboard.
Yeah, the punch board.
Yeah, punch board.
Yeah.
And the fact that they are double-sided, so you could have a
The canyon
trench on one side and water on the other side. It's always about making it as flexible as possible.
Well, I told you I want this many sheets of punch board, and you said what? Why?
I did say what, and then you explained it to me, and I'm like, sure, I'll go to bat for it.
I also said, there needs to be a 7-turn turn track in there. You said, why would you do that? What a waste of cardboard. No, there's a good reason for that.
Yeah, but as someone who's played with and demoed the Alpha Strike box and everything like that, I do appreciate that it's a much weightier item, so it stays on the table and doesn't shift around a lot as much of as kind of the building terrain. The trees, from the original Alpha Strike box, were notorious for being very finicky and very, so this, has a good weight to it, and it can
a little better each time.
Yep.
So I think we're kind of getting towards the end here.
Got about 15 minutes.
No, because they have us cut off 10, 15 minutes early just to tear down stage and build for the next one. Yeah, I did. I ran the full hour the first time on the first day, and they're like, tisk, tisk, tisk. So and of course the plastic, really quick to talk about that. We follow the same format as the original Alpha Strike box set, meaning that there are 2 brand new miniatures that have never been seen in our modern plastics anywhere. And that is, initially, first it's a Thunderbolt 2C, which is obviously the cover mech that Marco Mazzoni, once again, just stunning, just killed it. That cover is so good looking. That box is going to just sing on the shelf.
And the rifle, I imagine?
But then, and we're immediately thinking, well, hey, let's have another mech. But the more we got thinking about it, we're like, but Alpha Strike actually lends itself to combined arms so well.
Yep. And we were going to do cardboard infantry anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
We wanted them for scenarios.
Yeah, and so then we're like, then cardboard tanks. So we're like, let's do the vehicle as a new. So you got a pair of fulcrums, which are disgusting in Alpha Strike.
It might be one of the best clan hover tanks in the game.
It might be. They're so
it's
powerful.
The most defensible one.
Yeah. They're so good. So those are the 2 new ones. So there's actually 9 models effectively because we always pair the vehicles up. And then the other ones are, it was a combination of finding the variant that felt appropriate to the lore into the story, what felt appropriate for the campaign that needed to play, while
and
also
which
then
match the Aces decks.
What matches the Aces decks, but also pulling in what are the fan favorites. Once again, that's that balancing act of all these.
Yep.
And so I feel very confident in saying
that's the actual Chase Mini.
That this is the Chase Mini. This one right here, the Bane 3, is not only unbelievably fantastic looking, it is one of the most disgusting battle mechs in the game.
So back to that, just kick back for a moment. Sorting the spreadsheet. The only unit in Alpha Strike that has indirect fire 7.
Yeah. No, it's just.
Would you
and
like
the
120 LRMs a turn?
Yeah.
You can have
holding the Mini for the first time was just like, it is so fantastic. So this is going to be the Chase figure. I think there'll be some people buying the entire box just for that. And then they'll realize how fantastic the box is. So we'll be doing the same thing. Every one of the 4 boxes will have 8 or 9 or whatever minis as we do that same balancing act. What are the next, just for the next box that's the furthest along, what are those new minis?
Ooh.
Yeah, we won't tell all the boxes, but what's
the one
what's the one you're most excited about?
The one that we actually just wrapped fiction on, I think probably Snowblind, the Ghost Bear one, is Rassalog Dominion one, is probably my favorite of the set. New plastic for that are, and some of you may you probably have to pull up Sarna and look up one of these because this is a hidden gem from later eras. Is the Rime Otter. It is a Rassalog Dominion heavily armored
That's
scout.
One of the Rec Guide mechs, and it is awesome.
That one is in there. And the other new one, I went a little further back and did the Viking 2C, which is
That's
another.
A good one.
How many? Would you like 17 tons of hardened armor on your assault
mech? That's another great one.
Has, I think it is. Most Alpha Strike assault mechs are like 15 pips. It is like 24.
Yeah, it's just
it needs
it's
2
gross.
rows on the Alpha Strike card to print the pips. Like ridiculous unit.
Yeah,
but
absolutely
it's super
ridiculous,
cool
but
looking.
glorious.
Yeah, I'm happy to see the Rhyme Otter included because for those who don't know, the Rhyme Otter is kind of almost a smaller grizzly in appearance.
Yeah, it is. Smaller grizzly.
Yeah, and the grizzly was one of the miniatures I worked on for you guys. So
there's also
I'd forgotten that actually.
There's
That's
also
fantastic.
a grizzly variant in that box.
Oh, I know.
You get both.
Yeah. Finally getting the grizzly out there.
Well, no,
we have a grizzly.
What did the grizzly?
Yeah, we
come
did it
out?
with last
Mercenaries.
Kickstarter.
It's one of the 2 Clan Force packs in Mercenaries.
Oh, it is. That's right.
But there's a new variant in
That's
Snowblind.
right. That's right. There's just so everyone's asking when. Of course.
That's the only question our Fox boys over in the Denver area have to field.
So to be clear, you guys have actually asked a whole bunch of amazing questions, but we were having such a good time sharing it with you. We didn't get to them all. There'll be plenty of other opportunities. They'll be playing literally as soon as we're done. They're going to be setting up for that great Gothic combination playthrough. Keep the questions coming. I think they'll be able to field some of those then.
We will.
But the most important one is simply when it's coming. It is being literally printed right now. There was a chance in a slightly different world we might have had copies here at Gen Con. That's how close to done we are.
Yeah.
And in fact, not even like 2 weeks ago, I had to go back to Josh and go, Josh, do you still have that handmade copy? Because
which is this?
We're,
this is the handmade
we're just missing having samples, so we're that close. So it will literally, by the end of August, be on a ship. I am currently saying Black Friday. All right?
Okay.
It might come out early, but November should be a glorious month. You grab it, you head into the holidays for your family to experience a whole new experience for BattleTech. And I'm old, and I've been doing this an obscenely long time with BattleTech, and it brings me such immense joy, both as a fan and also as a developer on this game, and working alongside Ray Arastia and Aaron and Anthony and Marco and everyone that's done it, that we get to do something brand new, something BattleTech has never seen before.
Yeah.
And after 40 years, that's an amazing thing to be able to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, I think we're wrapping up then. Thanks to Josh for coming on, and
thanks
for Chris. I don't think Chris was even supposed to be on here, and I said, "No, you're sitting down. We're gonna talk with you." I love talking with Chris.
Randall just pulled me on stage last minute. I'm supposed to be in the next segment.
It was either that or I was going to randomly pull somebody in from the stage.
You're going to join us for the game.
Oh, that's true. So, yes, thank you, everyone, so much for being here on this great live stream. Hope you're having a great time. As I said, Ace's Gothic coming next, and then Quincy's Tavern, industry leaders, Modifius and Restoration, some fiction discussion, and then a great playthrough of Shadowrun Anarchy at the end of the day. So,
excellent.
See you on the next stream. Thanks, all.
Thanks, everyone.